For as long as I've been into watches and doing YouTube videos, there has always been something really appealing about Japanese Domestic Market, or JDM watches. You have brands like Seiko, Orient, Casio, and of course Citizen, and they seem to have historically kept some of their very best models exclusive to their country. Now, back in the day, there were watches like the Seiko SARB 033, for example. It was a super desirable timepiece that wasn't officially sold through the international distribution chain, so if you wanted one, you had to go overseas and locate them or find gray market importers to buy them from. Now, these days, times have changed, and a lot of the JDM models are also available with USA equivalent versions that have different reference numbers. So while you can get them in markets outside of Japan, it's often a little less expensive to order the JDM version and have it imported. And today that's what we're doing. We're checking out the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer Solar Chronograph. Its reference number SBDL085, or in the USA it's the SSC813. And I gotta say, it's a watch that I have wanted to get on the channel for ages, and I'm super happy to have it here now on my wrist. Panda dial chronographs are always a watch fan favorite. And look, I'm a watch fan, so when I see one like this, I gotta check it out in person. And let me say, at about $500, Seiko really needs to start making more watches like the one that we have here today. And no, I don't necessarily mean chronograph watches. What I mean is really cool and affordable solar quartz models with, like this one here, with great designs. I mean, where are the awesome solar quartz dive watches? And yeah, I know, Seiko has some of that, like the SNE models, and the Sumo and the Tuna styles, but those aren't the things that I'm personally looking for. So, Seiko, if you're listening, specifically what I want to see from you is a 62 MAS or 62 MOS solar quartz model, please, because I haven't seen that one yet, and that's what I'm dying for. Now, that said, I digress. I know people are going to comment. They're going to say, Guy, you said that you can get this watch for $500, but the SSC813 has a retail price of $675. And yes, that is true, but this one, again, is the JDM version. It's the exact same watch as the USA Market SSC model, but you can find it for under $600 and sometimes even under $500, which is what it was going for when I got this one. And do keep in mind that prices fluctuate, especially when you're talking about JDM watches. This watch was under $500 when I got it, but today they might be higher, and in a few months from now, the prices could certainly go lower again. You just never know. You got to keep your eyes peeled. Now, mine was provided for this video by the website Discovery Japan. It's an online site specializing in high-quality products that are both Japanese-made and products that are exclusive to the Japanese domestic market. So that means a bunch of watch brands like Seiko, Casio, Citizen, and Orient. And if you are looking for Japanese exclusive models at great prices, you can find a link to the Discovery Japan website in the description of this video down below. So let me give a quick thanks to Grace and Discovery Japan for partnering with me on this video and for providing the watch for review. They have a great selection of watches on the website for great prices, and it was a real pleasure to work with them. Now let's talk about the Speedtimer Prospex Solar Chronograph, and first let's go over the dimensions, the features, and the specifications. This watch comes in at 39 millimeters in diameter with a lug-to-lug case length of 45.5 millimeters. It's 20 millimeters between the lugs where the bracelet attaches to the case, and it's about 13 millimeters thick. And let me say this watch wears like an absolute dream thanks to those dimensions. Yeah, it is, I guess, slightly thick, but most chronograph watches are, so that's certainly not a big deal. But that 39 by 45.5 millimeter watch case is reserved, and it's conservative enough to feel fairly under the radar on the wrist, but it's certainly not a tiny watch. It is, in my opinion, just about perfect in the terms of size and scale. The stainless steel case is finished pretty nicely, as is the matching metal bracelet, and the watch case is topped off with a black tachymetric bezel and a very nice sapphire crystal with AR coating or anti-reflective coating on the inner surface. The white Panda dial has LumiBrite glow-in-the-dark fill on the markers and on the handset, and it gives pretty good low-light legibility. The dial features a date complication between the 4 and the 5 o'clock markers, and the triple register subdials and chronograph function top this watch off with a lot of extra features. Oh, and don't forget about things like 100 meters of water resistance and the V192 Seiko solar quartz movement with power reserve indicator, giving the watch 6 months of runtime on a single charge. Now, that is a pretty good list of features and specifications, but for my money, it's not the features or the specs that really make this watch a home run. No, for me, it is all about the design. And I suppose the dimensions have something to do with the design, so from that perspective, I guess it is at least tied to the specs a little bit, because yeah, first and foremost, the size and the scale of this watch is absolutely perfect for me. I absolutely love how this watch presents, both in the hand and on the wrist, in a large part because of the size and scale of the timepiece. Now, for the most part, this watch wears perfectly on my wrist, and yes, I have a somewhat smaller wrist, but I think this watch would be perfect for anyone whose wrist size is between 6 and 7.5 inches for sure, and for you guys with those jumbo 8-inch and up wrists, it wouldn't be bad, but it might feel slightly small for you. Depends on if you like the way that that type or size of timepiece wears. Now, the case shape is also a nice design. It's got a fairly short lug profile and no crown guards, making it less like a Rolex Daytona copy, despite having the white Panda dial and the black tachymetric bezel, and I like that a lot. Now, some other nice touches for this one include the 6 o'clock subdial acting as a power indicator so that you know how much of a charge the solar battery currently has, and of course, as previously mentioned, there's the date indicator at the 4 o'clock position of the dial, as well as a 24-hour dial, giving you a good AM/PM indication if you need something like that. Now, I do have a few negatives with this one, and it would only be fair to mention them. First, since the solar charging cells live behind those subdials on the watch face, the subdials aren't as dark, opaque, and black as I would like. They're fairly glossy and perhaps even ever so slightly transparent, which means they don't look the absolute best in all lighting conditions. And speaking of those subdials and the date, they are a little bit small, and they can be hard to read if you're like me, over the age of 40, with failing eyesight. But to be fair, that is more of a me problem than the watch problem. I've been having a real decline in my reading distance vision the last couple of years, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, if you're like me on the wrong side of 40, the subdials might be a little bit difficult to read. But look, those are super minor nitpicks and not anything close to being deal breakers. Certainly not for me. I mean, overall, the watch is amazing, especially for the money, and I am really impressed with it. Especially because I love the size, the scale, the fit on the wrist, and the overall design. I just absolutely think it's a home run. So yeah, I would highly recommend picking one of these up if you're looking to add a chronograph to your collection, or if you're just looking to get something that would make for an excellent everyday timepiece that won't break the bank. Alright guys, well, thanks for tuning in and watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of the Seiko Speedtimer chronograph? I would love to hear about it. I personally think it's absolutely amazing. I think I've made that perfectly clear, but I want to know what you think. Now, with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up for today. I'm going to say thanks again, and until the next one, bye now.